Hello everyone, and welcome to my Towny tutorial. A lot of people actually feel that Towny is really difficult because of all the commands that it has. But I wanted to show you guys that Towny is actually pretty simple if you just learn the few commands that are involved. It's a lot like factions, where you use land and protect yourself from griefers and thieves. So I'm gonna get right into it. This is the server spawn, and all these buildings are shops and stuff. These are the signs that have important information related to the server, the price of setting up towns, and some other useful things that you need to know. This is a dedicated Towny server, so the first thing I'm going to be needing to do right now is find a piece of land where I can set up my town. So I think we have some warps, so let me go ahead and warp to the south. So you can, or all the players can set up a town anywhere, but I usually prefer to set it up on a plain because the flat land helps and you can really make it look good. You could conceivably set up a town anywhere, on a forest or a mountain or under the ocean maybe, but I usually prefer to do it on a plain because there's a lot less of flattening of land, and it's a lot easier. It looks better, and for beginners I definitely recommend that you set up your town on a plane. You could plan the plots and stuff really easily on a plane, and it's a lot less hassle in the long run. So the first thing I'm going to be doing now is find myself a nice suitable piece of land where I could set up the plots and show you guys how to start the town. And this is a zombie. Yeah, so okay. So I'm gonna go and find myself a plane right now, and once I do, I'm gonna get back to you guys, alright? Alright, see ya. So here we go, guys. I traveled a bit and managed to find this particular plane. I think it should serve me well because it's right by a seaside, and I like my towns to be by the sea. It helps when I'm traveling to other distant biomes for resources. So first thing we need to do here is find a flattish piece of land around here and try to make sure that find chunk borders. So here's a bit of land that I cleared already. As you can see, there isn't much grass because this is where I'm going to set up my town. So the first thing that we're going to be dealing with is what are chunks, what are chunk borders, and how do you know which chunk you're standing in. So there are a lot of ways in which you can do this, but the easiest way is to press the F3 button. So here you see the debug screen, and in the second column, the second bunch of things on the left side, you see X, Y, Z. These are the coordinates, and then you see block, and then you see chunk below it. Now the chunk part is what we are interested in. So here you'll see it says 1002 in minus 3495. So the 1002 902, the thing that changes as you walk around, this is the block that you're standing in the chunk. So the chunk that you're standing in is the minus 3495 chunk. So anyway, that's not important right now. So what you need to do to find the corners of the chunk you're standing in, because you need to know where the corners of the chunk are, so that when you claim the piece of land, you know exactly what it is that you're claiming. So now that I'm standing here, let me just mark out the borders of this particular chunk. So first thing is, let me try to go to the 00 corner. If you can see the numbers, they're going right here. So this particular square, this is the 00 chunk. So now I don't have any blocks. Kit resource. So yeah. So let me mark them out. So this is one corner of the chunk, and let me go to the opposite side where it says 15 15. You see the 15. Here we go. 15 15. This is, you see that the blocks in the chunk are numbered from 0 to 15. So a lot of you might be wondering, what is a chunk? He's going on about a chunk. The chunk is a 16 by 16 cube. I mean, it's a square that extends all the way down from bedrock to the sky limit, all the way up to the sky limit. So the entire Minecraft world is made up of chunks. So all the data and everything that you build is stored in the form of chunks. So the chunks are counted off from the origin of the world, the 000, and every single thing in Minecraft is recorded according to the chunks you're standing in. So Towny allows you to configure what kind of plots you need. So I mean, a lot of people think that in Towny you can make plots however you want them to be, but that's not actually true. In Towny, you basically use the chunks and the plots that are made by the server already. You can just claim them yourself and, you know, uh, adjust them. So here we see that we are in the 15-0 corner of it. You know, the middle number doesn't matter because that's the y coordinate. That's just the altitude that you're standing in. So that's not really important. So here if you can see 0 15, yeah, so this is the other corner. So between these four pillars, this is a chunk. So if I were to claim, if I were to start my town in this particular chunk, uh, this all the area that's in between these four pillars and going all the way up to the sky limit and all the way down to bedrock, all of this is going to be within the town that I create. So everything within that will be protected from, I don't, other players, griefers, mobs, everything. I'll explain in detail the permissions regarding this when we get to it. But as of now, all you need to know while identifying a chunk is the numbers on the top left, what you see. So now if you see that if I just cross over this, the 0 turns back to 15. So now that it's 0, and then if I go back now it's 15. So I am now in this row of blocks. So you see this is the first block of the new chunk. If I go back here, it's 0. Here's 15. If I stand here now, this is the corner of the next chunk. Suppose I were to start this off, this would be the corner of the next chunk. And if I step here, this is yet another chunk. You'll see it goes from 0 to 15, and here another 0. So these four blocks here that you can see, these four blocks, all of them belong to different chunks. All of these are all four different chunks, the corners of each. So based on these numbers in the debug screen, you can figure out what chunk you're standing in. So now that I'm here, I need to know how to set up the chunk. Let's just go back to spawn and see what the commands were, because now we're done with the chunk topic. So let's go and see how it is that we actually start our town. So let's go back to spawn. So yeah, here we are back at spawn. The thing that people need to know about Towny is that Towny runs on money. Basically, you run your town based on money that you earn and that you use for upkeep. So upkeep is a very important concept in Towny, and I'll be explaining more about what that is in a bit. And just like factions uses power to control the amount of land that you can claim, Towny doesn't use power, but it uses money. So here we go. The cost to start a new town is 500, and this is the command t new and the name of the town, and unclaiming blocks is 50, and this is the t claim is the command. So now let's go back to where we came from. So here I'm back here. So now that we found out what the command was t space new space the name of the town, whatever you want. So I'm just going to call it test. So yeah, here we go. I created a new town called test. So since I stood inside this particular chunk and claimed this town, so my town basically consists of everything within this chunk. So if you see, as soon as I step out, it's going to say wilderness PvP. As soon as I step in, it's going to say test settlement PvP. So by default, PvP is enabled in all the towns, and I'll go into further details on how to deactivate that later. But the point you guys need to understand is that now your town consists of everything exactly inside these borders. So if I build something, say I build this here, nobody from any other town or anyone who's not in my town can actually do anything to this particular block or anything inside here. But if I were to build something here, then anyone, because this is technically wilderness, so anyone could come and just break this block. So this is how it takes. And another thing that you need to know is, now that you've set up a town, you can just do T, and here you'll get details about your particular town. So if you see, it says uh, the town size is 1 on 10, because my town currently has one chunk in it, and these are permissions. I'll explain these in detail in another episode. And these are some other properties of towns. And the most important thing you need to know at this point, that every player of Towny needs to know, is about the bank, the daily upkeep, and the tax. So basically Towny revolves around money. So you need to have more money in your bank than in the daily upkeep for your town to exist. So a lot of players, new players come, they make a town, they build all kinds of really nice buildings, and they do all kinds of things, but they don't understand the bank concept. So one day they log in and they see that their town has fallen and their stuff has been griefed. So you guys really need to pay attention to the upkeep. So the first thing you'll need to do as soon as you make a town is deposit money in the town bank. And the way that you're going to do that is T space deposit space how much ever money that you want to deposit in the bank. So now I'm going to deposit, say, 200. So 200 is going to be deposited in the bank. Any resident in any town can deposit money in the bank. So now if you see /T, you'll see that the bank has 200 in it. The next thing that you're going to need to know about is claiming additional chunks. Now that you've claimed the thing, the command for this was T new space name, where whatever name you wanted for your town. The next thing that you need to know is how to claim additional chunks. So you need to go to the chunk that is immediately next to the chunk that you already claimed. So I could go to this particular diagonal chunk here, and I could try to claim it, and it wouldn't work. You need to go to either to this chunk or this chunk, and any chunk that is immediately next to the chunk that you just claimed as for your town. So I'm going to stand here and do T space claim. So now you'll see that this part of the town has, this part of the Minecraft world, this particular chunk, which goes again all the way. I could probably count if you guys want to see, just to understand the chunk concept even better. You're going to see that as we go in this direction, the chunk number is reducing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and here we go 0. This is the last corner block of this chunk. If I step out another block, it's going to go to wilderness. So here you go, this is the corner of this chunk. So in the same way, you could go all the way over here and try to find that block right here, 0, 0, 0. This is the other corner. So here we have two chunks, part of our town, and these two chunks are protected. You could build anything you wanted in this chunk all the way down from bedrock all the way up to the sky, and nobody could come and grief it unless you allowed them to. And now you guys understand how to claim. Another thing that you'll need to see is, now if I do /T, you'll notice that my money is 150. That's because every additional town block you claim is going to cost you 50. And now that you'll see my town size is 2 on 10 and my upkeep is 20. Earlier, if you see, my upkeep was 10. So the upkeep is 10 per block. So every 24 hours of real life time, like every day, like in the real world today and tomorrow, every day at one particular time, the server is going to collect the upkeep from every town on the server. So suppose there was a town, suppose another player started a town, same town with two chunks, and he had only $10 in his bank. His town would fall. When the server checks for money at the time of the check for upkeep, the server is going to detect that his town bank does not have enough money to meet the upkeep, and his town is going to be deleted, all the residents removed, and all the land that he has claimed will be unclaimed. That means it goes back to wilderness, and anybody can just walk in and do whatever they wanted and claim the land. So now that you see that these two chunks are mine, I'm going to go ahead and claim another two chunks for you, just to make sure. See, I just stepped out of the chunk into this one, and here we have wilderness, T claim, and now this is being claimed. and I'm going to do the same thing here, T-claim. So now you'll see that my balance is only 50 because I claimed 3 chunks. I had 200 and I claimed 3 chunks, and now I have only 50. So this is still enough because my upkeep is 40 and my money is 50. So this should be good for a day. But tomorrow I'm going to need to deposit some more money if I want my town to survive. Otherwise my town is going to be deleted. So this is how you have towns, and this is the basic concepts, the first episode of my tutorial, where I explained 3 things. One is how to find out the borders of a chunk, what exactly a chunk is. Second is how to start a town, how to claim additional plots in the town, the concept of town bank, the concept of town upkeep, and yeah, that's about it. In the next episode, I'm going to be teaching you about plots, how to add residents to your town, and how to allot particular plots to them. I'm going to explain a bit more about permissions related to Towny, about how different residents in your town can exist without stealing from each other, how you can prevent residents from your town from stealing from you, which is one of the most important features of Towny. And I'll also be adding in a word about town spawn and outposts. So thank you all for watching, and if you guys have any doubts or anything that you feel that I didn't explain, or any suggestions for my future tutorials or anything at all, please feel free to leave it in the comments and let me know what you guys think. So thank you all for watching, and you guys are welcome to drop into this server or leave a comment or anything that you guys might want. You guys are free to talk to me at any time, and have a good day, guys. See you around. Bye.